Hey guys, I'm Frank.
And this is Leo.
We know we told you we'd be back soon last time.
But we lied.
Yeah,
Didn't mean to.
Life happened.
Yeah.
We're older.
Wiser.
We're grumpier.
Grayer.
I'm a little fatter. But either way, welcome to a brand new episode of
Terror Recollect. Ladies and gentlemen, I know I'm there with you. Season 3, Episode 3. Frank is back. I'm here too. Michael's here. It's a great day. So, this being Episode 3, we thought we'd bring you a story on trilogies. Frank, what's the trilogy we're going to be going over today?
David Gordon Green Trilogy.
Yes, in
of
quotes.
Halloween.
I think it's been enough time since all 3 movies have been released to be able to look at everything from a point of view of retrospect and not so much tainted with nostalgia for the character, nostalgia for the franchise, but to be able to dissect it in a manner that is accurate to what the film actually is, its rewatchability, and all the above.
So let's okay, so in his version, he didn't want to make them brother and sister because they found it scarier that he just goes after random people. But he does end up going after Laurie, and they make that a big deal. That's a major confrontation. That's a major plot point of the movie, is that he goes back after Laurie.
By courtesy, it's being referred to as Halloween 2018, but for the 3rd time around, it's just known as Halloween. The original 78 obviously was Halloween. The Rob Zombie remake, being a remake, it could be retitled. But this is a movie that ignores literally everything after the first movie, which at this point is 9 other movies. Halloween 2, Season of the Witch, Return of Michael Myers, Revenge of Michael Myers, Curse of Michael Myers, H2O, Resurrection, Rob Zombie 2007, Halloween, and Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. So that's 9 movies. And then this is, including the original, this is the 10th. That was the 10th. This would be the 11th entry. But it became this blank slate where they took it all back and decided to ignore everything.
It ignores all those sequels, but yet it literally references every single
All
movie.
of them.
So what I consider this movie is basically like one giant Easter egg of a movie.
That's a good way of putting it.
This movie references... They ignore all these movies, but they pulled the best stuff from those movies to make it. Whatever.
That's a good way of putting it. It became a scrambled egg omelet of the movies that they tried to ignore. I like the fact that they referenced Season of the Witch, Halloween 3, masks and everything, and kind of brought that back into the mix. But it is a best of the other ones. All the rest of the sequels have delved into the whole family aspect and the Halloween night aspect. So it is very jarring to be like, especially when they make that joke. Well, they said they were brother and sister. No, someone just came up with that. It felt irreverent. It felt like poking fun at the other ones, which if you're going to leave them alone, leave them alone. Otherwise, it's like, I don't know. I guess I know why they did that, to nod and wink and say this one's different, but still. I didn't like that very much. And I'm not saying that they needed to make it brother and sister again, but yeah, there wasn't a whole lot of connective tissue there as to why he's doing it. And I know that it's scarier when you don't know the why, but 11 films in, you got to give something, especially if you're saying that none of the other movies existed.
And don't get me wrong, this movie, there are a couple of things that I do enjoy about this movie, and I have watched it several times, but it seems like the more I watch it, the more I find the things I don't like, and that kind of outweighs the good. I'm going to go through the movie as quickly as I can, and tell me what it's referencing, okay? The old lady with the curlers in her hair with the pink robe on.
Halloween 2?
Halloween 2. The Season of the Witch masks. The gas station massacre.
That's Halloween 4.
Halloween 4.
Halloween 4 plus a little bit of H2O because the girl is in the bathroom.
Exactly. H2O.
Rhiannon Reese Dana is in the bathroom. So that felt very much like a completion of what they were kind of hinting at in the H2O rest up scene.
A couple things I did like about the movie is the score. John Carpenter returning to do the score.
Absolutely.
And I believe he had with his son also.
Cody Carpenter. Yeah, and then there was a third person. I'm sorry, I don't know that person's name, but they were able to really shake up the score. The tone of the movie feels very authentic to Halloween when the score is playing and when Michael is stalking. But other than that, the humor tone with the babysitter character, with the three teenagers in the beginning, and then I think there's a couple other friends that kind of join in. I don't feel anything for those characters other than contempt. They're not relatable. They're annoying to watch. And under re-watching, which let's admit that's what movie fans, I'm even going to say horror fans, that's what movie fans do, is they re-watch a lot of their favorite movies. And I think in the horror genre, I think it lends itself to rewatching. So unfortunately, it's not as rewatchable as something like 4 or 5 or even 6, part 6 of Halloween, or 2 or 3, even H2O. Definitely not Resurrection. That one's not rewatchable. No. But it's you end up disliking the stuff that you kind of were okay with on the first go around. I don't know. What are your thoughts on the characters?
I thought Jamie Lee Curtis did okay. Showcasing her, the trauma, and everything. The dinner scene, the dinner scene where she starts kind of breaking down, or when she's in the car watching the bus leave, and she, has that. But this is what I'm saying. In H2O, it's the exact same thing. Laurie's, traumatized by the events of what happened, but it makes more sense in H2O because they didn't ignore Halloween 2.
Correct.
So in H2O, she moved, she changed, she faked her death, she changed her name, she has a new life, but she's still kind of haunted. And that's because not only did the stuff happen from the first movie, which takes place in the same night as the second one, but she went to the hospital, he followed her there.
And there was a higher body count.
Exactly.
In part 2. And it's her brother that's going after her.
Right. So she had to come to terms with that. And
she tried her best to move on. She became a teacher.
Mm-hmm.
She did all these different things in H2O. She wasn't like living in this, far tucked away corner of the forest or wherever the heck she lived, under this extreme paranoia for nothing happening for 40 years.
Right.
It's harder to suspend your disbelief when that's happening. Versus H2O, you really do feel like this is someone who's tried to work through her trauma. There are times in Halloween 2018 where she does demonstrate her difficulty in surviving what she survived and the trauma from it, but you don't really get the effect. You feel like she's excessively paranoid, especially when she breaks into Karen's house and has a gun, and
it was a little bit more believable in H2O.
And that's the hard part when it comes to comparison. David Gordon Green's series of 3 films feels like it took the concept of H2O and said, what if we expanded this into 3 films, and what if we did it with, since it's now 40 years later, did it with The Next Generation too? Because these movies were made for today's audience, so it had the younger character Allison, which is the granddaughter of Jamie Lee Curtis's character of Laurie, and then just it felt like it didn't know who it was playing to. Are you playing to nostalgia? Are you playing to creating a new series of films? There was a lot of very unbalanced things. One of which I felt was very imbalanced was the drama and the humor. Mm-hmm. The humor felt very out of place in all 3 of the movies. Right now we're still kind of referencing the 2018 version. But the humor felt out of place. It didn't feel real. It didn't feel like this is something you would actually run into a conversation. Whereas even in the original Halloween, the conversations between the 3 girls felt very real. Mm-hmm. Everything was very grounded, so it pulled you into the reality of that world. And in this, it feels like this is a group of people that don't know what they're saying. are very dismissive, and it just didn't lead to an enjoyable experience with those characters.
It feels like David Gordon Green or somebody. Well, I'll say it's David. Basically saying, you know what, guys, I'm going to give you free reign. Don't worry about what it says in the script. You guys improv the scene, and then they come up with something. They come up with something which is so stupid, like, "Oh, you're getting lip crusties all over me," and you're welcome. Like, it's like they improv the scene, and then they're like, "Okay, well, let's just keep it in."
The podcasters in the beginning, I think that was probably my favorite part, because they're kind of churning up something that's been dormant for a while, which is Michael in his hospital, and then with Laurie, and it just kind of, again, it introduces the audience to this, gap of time of 40 years where really nothing has happened other than a very paranoid Laurie, and it feels like she's excessively paranoid.
He's locked up in. So why did I don't understand where her paranoia comes from?
It's excessive. It doesn't feel natural.
Security, and she's basically given up her life. I could see having like a couple more locks on the door. You know what I mean? Or a gun in the basement, something.
But then what she ends up like having horrible relationship with her daughter because of her paranoia. And at that point, it's just like the crazy homeless person who's talking to themselves. Like, you don't lend any credence, and you almost don't even feel for the character, because it feels like, all right, I get it, but you're kind of being a little over the top. You're not. It's hard to be in your camp. It's hard to be in your corner, and yeah, just the balance doesn't feel right in this movie. There's times where the dialogue of characters, like the little kid who tells his dad he just wants to go and be a dancer, it's like
that's improv. That he must have let him.
It doesn't. It doesn't feel like the way people actually talk. It doesn't feel.
It doesn't feel fluid.
It doesn't feel fluid, and I think a lot of the reason that people have the like of the movie that they do is because they finally got a Michael in Haddonfield back, and you can almost do anything to that recipe and people will watch it. And I think that's why the trilogy exists. I think that's why it was made and why it was successful in its, financial box office. But that's why we're doing this retrospect now, because it now lives in this pantheon of 13 Halloween movies. Right?
Let me tell you one of the best parts about this movie.
When it ended.
Right.
The credits
other than that, one of the best parts about this movie is James Jude Courtney's portrayal of Michael Myers.
I will agree to that.
To me, the best portrayal since George Wilbur.
I agree. Yeah.
George Wilbur has always been my personal favorite.
For those who don't know, George Wilbur played Michael in Halloween 4 and 6.
Yeah. Rest in peace.
Not 5. R.I.P.
I think he's got the walk, he's got the movements down. One of the best parts in the movie is that little tracking shot of him where he's just on the street around, with the trick-or-treaters.
Probably the best shot in the whole movie.
Right. And then he sees the old lady and he follows her and he goes from house to house killing folks. That's probably the best part.
And with the new Carpenter score. It feels like you got Michael back. And I think this movie survived on that. It survived on Michael's back and these brutal kills, and the mask still looks like the mask. And it gives you enough to go, okay, I'll go on the ride with this. Yeah. And for that, it is still watchable.
I did like the kind of throwback where Laurie gets thrown off the balcony, and then Michael goes and looks, and she's not there.
That was originally a set that was built. They were going to do a flashback of Michael falling from the end of Halloween 1, Halloween 78, and they ended up cutting that out of the script, but they had already built the set. So they ended up deciding, well, because they didn't want to lean too much on Halloween, the original, they wanted people to just jump in and be able to watch this one. But then when they made use of the set still, they redressed it, but part of your brain still goes, this looks a lot like the one from the end of the original. So to have it be the other way around, I thought was very poetic justice. It was a very cool visual. And it kind of makes you wish that they leaned a little bit more into the original film.
The worst thing about this movie is the Dr. Sartain story.
I will agree.
Yeah. I knew it from the get-go that he was going to be a bad guy in some way. I didn't know to what extent. but I knew that he was not going to be, because usually when you have two of the same types of characters, we had Dr. Loomis, and obviously he was this representation of good, right? And then you have this new Loomis. You kind of know they're going to do something different, and the only thing
flip the script,
right?
It doesn't feel organic though. It feels like an obsessed fan, which is the opposite of what Loomis was. Loomis was the harbinger of this doom that was coming. You guys don't know this evil that's escaped. And, rest in peace, Donald Pleasence. No one plays it like him, and the series has not been the same since he left. So you have this Dr. Sartain that it just makes you frustrated actually watching him. And I'm kind of like that with the new sheriff, where they said, what are they going to do? Guys, a Halloween? Like, it hit me in all the wrong places. Hawkins. Like, I think that was an opportunity wasted, too. I feel like
Patton, yeah.
It just felt like he was very, not in his element. He just didn't feel natural. Is just a lot wrong with it in the rewatching, where you almost look and say, okay, if I rewatch this movie, what am I going to get out of it? As a Halloween fan, I mean, you can probably show it to someone who just is an average moviegoer, and they'll get what they'll get out of it. But as a rewatch, third, fourth, fifth, sixth time out, what benefit am I going to get in watching this again? Is there a benefit to watching it again? Yeah, the music, the mask, the kills.
I do like the mask.
The mask is great.
The mask are
the kills and ends version of it. The mask's cool.
Again, the best mask since Part 6, I would say.
I will agree to that.
I like this mask.
It is
more
a little bit more Shatner-esque than the other, than the Mofugga.
That's the resurrection.
That's the resurrection.
Go watch our ranking of the mask, the last episode
2.
Yeah.
So, Halloween Kills. What are your thoughts on the title?
Machete kills. Right.
Literally what I was about to say. It feels like Machete kills.
We know he kills.
Exactly.
The
movies that they're trying to ignore, it literally did exactly what Halloween 2, 1981 did, which was pick up immediately after the first movie with the boyfriend character. You hate that character because he's such a jerk. His dialogue is unreal. There's just nothing likable about these characters. And then, boom, he's in the very beginning. And they do this thing where they almost try to let's turn him into a lovable character because he's going to try to save Hawkins.
Let's give him a redemption arc.
Redemption, exactly.
Nobody wants to see this character get a redemption arc.
No.
He was such a piece of crap in the first movie that.
Yeah.
And that's another reason why I think later on, we'll get to that, I'll kind of save it, but they draw his death out very long. The flashback scene is having Michael just stand out on the lawn, surrounded by cops, and then, imagine what happens after that.
He goes to jail.
But do they just go up, okay, put your hands behind your back, Michael? You know what I mean? I can't, it cuts in it. It's very convenient that it cuts right there. But yeah, he can kill a slew of firemen, but he can't kill a few cops.
And especially, too, I mean, he's younger and more agile at 21. He probably should have done what he did at the end, at the beginning of Kills to all those guys, that he would have continued. He wouldn't have ever been arrested. And to flip it on its head, the things I did like about that scene was in the Halloween 78, they talk about him stealing a rope. All he took was a mask, a rope, and a couple of knives. Who do you think it was? Which is Brackett's line to Annie outside the hardware store. We see the mask, we see the knives, honestly, but we don't see the rope until this. Oh, that's what he does with the rope. He wanted to hang someone.
Wait, who's he hanging?
He grabs the cop, and he's pulling him by the neck with the rope.
Oh, I totally missed that part because I was kind of out of it.
Yeah. And I think that was the only good part. And then that's when the younger version of Hawkins is trying to save him, and he ends up accidentally shooting his friend, which is horrible. It's stupid. So stupid. And it's like, are you supposed to feel empathy for this character? I don't get it. And it's like, oh my gosh. Yeah.
Yes. So Hawkins is literally the worst cop that I've ever seen in these movies. Hawkins shoots his partner. He drops the guy. He turns very robotically. And then a blink later, he's down the stairs like a specter. And then it cuts after he's standing on the lawn. So that, to me, that did absolutely nothing for the story. They could have just wiped all that out. The only thing it's trying to show you is that is Hawkins' revenge story. The script got leaked.
That's right.
The script got leaked, and I'm weak, and I was like, okay, I want to read the script. I want to read the script, but I was like, you know what, I'm gonna hold out. The movie at the time was only like a few months away or something like that, and then all of a sudden they said this movie is going to be pushed 1 year, extended 1 year or whatever. And then I was like, I can't wait a year. So I read the script. I broke down and read the script. And the script, and I was even telling, because he wanted me to tell me everything. Tell me what happens. And I told him, and everything that I read was very awesome. I was like, damn, this is actually going to be a really good movie.
Just didn't make the translation from script to
screen,
final movie in a satisfying way.
First one I get, okay, he's a little bit more human in 2018, but in Kills, that went.
He's superhuman.
Right, he is superhuman.
By far.
He's killing
because he's also, what, 60? He's in his 60s?
Yeah, he's in his 60s, if you go by the timeline. In this movie, it's almost like this community of people is kind of like the villain. Even though Michael's doing these horrible things, they're not any better.
You end up having this story that's like a flip on itself when it's about Michael's just doing his thing, but it's people with evil dies tonight, you know, and the other escaped mental patient from Smith's Grove, and now everyone, it's this panic mentality, and that's not enjoyable to watch. That's not escapism. That's like this story on the evil of people. I don't feel like it fits in this story.
Where else have we seen a mob go after Michael?
Part 4.
Yeah.
And it was done in a better way.
In a better way. And it wasn't a whole
much
town.
Better way. No, it was a bunch of drunks. And they were better at it.
Yeah. So things that didn't make sense in this movie. Again.
Everything.
Again, let's ignore all the sequels. Let's pull from them. Laurie, the second movie in his trilogy, Laurie's in the hospital the entire time. Where have we seen that? Halloween 2. The second movie. Laurie literally does nothing in this movie, right? Hawkins still alive, even though not only did he get stabbed in the neck and bleeding a lot, he got ran over. They run him over. He's not supposed to be alive. He's alive.
Does this make sense? I think that's why people don't talk about it other than nostalgia and cool visuals. Because the mask is cool. It's now half burnt, which I thought was cool. He's walking around with his 2 fingers blown off. He's got his coveralls, charred up. And he's on this rampage. And I'm telling you, it's just enough to keep you interested.
Some of your favorite characters.
From Kills?
Yeah. What do you think about legacy characters?
I think that they wasted Tommy. I think that they wasted Lindsay. I hate the fact that Lindsay is only in it for a little bit and then ducks away. And that's probably the best I can say for this movie. The kills are cool. The kill, and I think that's, if that's the best you can say for a horror movie, then that's probably where horror movies get their negative connotation from, or like their negative outlook. Is that people think, oh,
that's
all you care about is just these kills. It's like, no, care about exciting stories and exciting themes and great characters and great suspense and build-up and arcs. And this movie doesn't have the majority of that. It has good kills. It has good visuals with the mask and the music and Laurie.
It's kind of strong. Again, James Courtney returns.
Yeah, he's probably the best Michael since Wilbur.
So one of my favorite scenes is where he attacks the car of the.
That's probably the best scene in the movie.
Yeah. So during the car, Nurse Marion comes back for I don't know what reason.
To die.
She comes back to die. She doesn't do anything, and she died in H2O. She was in the first 2 movies, and they brought her back for H2O.
I'm telling you, it feels like they remade H2O into a trilogy.
If she had a bigger role to where she added something to the story or whatever, okay, sure. But they brought her back, they killed her off. So pointless. I don't understand it. They bring back Brackett. He's the security guard at the hospital. he's, oh, well, Michael escaped and he killed my daughter 40 years ago. And they used a shot from Halloween 2 of Annie on the gurney.
Which makes no sense because that,
The movie doesn't exist. Whatever. Okay, they just wanted to show her dead. But you don't have to show her dead. They're just showing it for people who aren't familiar with the story. With Tommy rallying up these people. He says this line that he says to Laurie in the original movie. Everyone's entitled to one to get scared. Why does he say that to Michael? Why? It's not like he said that to Michael in the original one. It's just fan service.
It's like a cheap thrill. It's like, oh, he's saying the quote.
Oh,
but it's completely out of place.
It's completely out of place. It makes no sense.
It doesn't feel right.
It's not like he said it to Michael. It's like Michael doesn't fucking know what you're talking about. It's like the guy that goes into a bar.
Hey,
he's like,
everyone's entitled to one.
Yeah,
get scared.
yeah,
and everyone's hey,
Right, leave.
Drinks are on the house.
So yeah, it just doesn't make any sense. And then they kill him, which is really brutal.
Yeah,
I like the way he kills him. He actually dies the same way his daughter died.
It's just like 2018. It doesn't feel like it makes up, or barely is like you slap me in the face as much as you give me the chills and the thrills. Like, and I don't think a movie should be that. I think you should have a great movie all around, and I think the recipe was there. I think the possibility was there because the visuals are cool, but it's just the way these characters are written. What's the daughter's Karen? I hated Karen.
One of the worst characters in a whole franchise.
And she was I mean, if anything, she was a little bit better in parts in kills. I think that Andy Matichak, who plays Allison,
she had more to do in this movie.
Yeah.
And I honestly, I thought that's where the entire trilogy was going, the direction it was going in. It was going to end up being Alice in the movie.
Right.
In the third movie.
Mm-hmm.
It
kind of did, but in a different way.
Not what you
anticipate or expect. It's missing a lot, and those things become more glaring as the time passes and as you keep rewatching it. So why is Danny McBride, who's like known for comedies, writing a horror movie? You know, oh geez, I'm a huge horror fan. Okay, cool. You got to live up to it. Let that reflect in its writing, not in just a statement of declarations. It doesn't feel consistent. It feels like someone made it because they needed fresh new movies in the theater, and there's still money to be wrung out of the cash cow. And if you do that, great, but do it well. Do it memorable. Do it in a way where people go, man, they killed it.
There's some good shots in here. There's a shot in Halloween Kills where after he kills the older couple, Sandra and her husband, there's a shot where Sandra's lying on the floor and she's bleeding to death, right?
Yeah, through her neck.
Yeah. And in the background, out of focus, is basically Michael taking knives from the knife block, stabbing the husband just over and over, taking another one, stabbing him. Because in all these movies, you see after he kills people, they're always like strung up, like he's like he's displaying them, like they're on display. And this actually kind of shows him doing that, like he's playing with his food, kind of. But his movements are they're freaky, and the fact that it's out of focus it's a really cool shot.
There's some benefit to subtlety.
And then don't get me started on the Big John, Little John stuff.
That's probably the biggest thing in terms of someone actually lives in the Myers house, and it's painted in its current scheme as it is in present day South Pasadena, in that kind of color tone because it's not painted white anymore.
It's a gay couple.
And I mean, cool. You know,
whatever.
Do that. I just didn't feel like the delivery of the characters or even the believability. Because again, it kind of goes into that thing where it's like the writing is so bad. It's like, if it was like this, like, oh my gosh, what a couple I can get behind, gay or not, whatever. But it's like, they're a parody. They're like a joke. Yeah. So you can't take it seriously.
It goes back to that thing about comedy writers directing a horror movie.
Yeah.
It's like they're gonna put their natural instinct is to put in the comedy aspects of it.
Yeah, but the lens is not correct for it.
No. In this movie, I was rooting for Michael.
Yeah. Because all the characters were detestable.
Yeah. I like the ending. I like the mob stuff where they get the upper hand on him.
Mm-hmm.
But then you got this voiceover from Laurie the whole time saying you can't kill him by brute force.
Right. So it's like it's anticlimactic in a way.
Closing thoughts on this movie
on
overall.
kills. Again, like 2018, the kills were good. It was good having James Jude Courtney back. Even though Laurie was in the hospital, which is very reminiscent of Halloween 2 movie they say never happened. You know, all these different things. It was an interesting ride, but I think the memory of watching it, plus that first time hearing Frank talk about what he read in the script, I feel like it held a lot of promise, but it just didn't deliver. But you loved just enough of those little in-betweens, like the mask or the music or the legacy characters, that it made you watch it, and you still kind of keep going back to it, but you want more. So the final movie in this trilogy is Halloween Ends. Kills to Ends, because Halloween 2018, 40 years after Laurie's encounter with him. Halloween Kills same night.
So Halloween Ends is 4 years after Halloween Kills. He disappeared after killing Karen. So for some reason, Laurie, after 40 years with him being incarcerated, is super traumatized and super on edge.
I like where you're going with this. Yeah, this was my biggest problem with it.
But 4 years later...
4 years after losing her daughter for real.
Right.
Her son-in-law. And her friends.
And then him being nowhere because they didn't find him. You don't know where he is, and she's moving on.
Yeah. Does not feel consistent.
Right. Well, it starts off with a babysitter, a guy played by Rohan Campbell, accidentally killing a kid that he's babysitting, and then the town basically turning on him. And it's basically about Michael, who was kind of, I guess, born evil, rather than Corey Cunningham's character being made evil, or being turned into evil. Oh.
That's an interesting subtext to it. Like the fact that there is like the question of are we made or are we created bad? I don't think it satisfactorily answered the question, but it did ask a very interesting question.
There are remnants of a really good movie, a really good plot in there, but being the third movie, like it suffers from the same thing that Season of the Witch did, was that if this was not called Halloween, and this was a movie about a guy who accidentally kills someone, and people turn on him, and he becomes this evil, and this was not about Michael Myers, this would have been a fantastic movie.
Absolutely.
It could have been. But because it's like, okay, well, we got to put Michael Myers in there. It's like, it just becomes like...
Michael was an afterthought in his own third chapter,
Michael Myers,
as well as Laurie.
This was Corey Cunningham's Halloween with a cameo by Michael Myers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a cameo by Michael Myers and Laurie.
Corey Cunningham's Halloween. Featuring Michael Myers, Laurie Strode, and a returning cast of people. I will say I do like the fact that Andi Matichak was back, and they gave her a lot of good material to chew up, to get into. And you really did find yourself going like, okay, the story I'm more attracted to is hers, having... just been this innocent teenager in the beginning of the first one, having faced these horrible challenges in the second one, losing people in the second one, and then having to try to come back, but then falling for this guy who's really not intended to be bad, but ends up falling into this unfortunate set of circumstances, or the pariah of the town, being outcast because a kid died on his watch. And again, it was actually the kid's fault. That's the other thing that's frustrating, is the characters are badly written. I'm glad that kid died. I wish his parents would have gone up there and fallen down too, because they were horrible characters. Yeah. You don't feel anything for them. It's like, okay, great, they're dead, fantastic. That kid's dead, great. That kid should have been a commercial for don't have kids, for safe sex or something. Yeah.
And Rohan Campbell, I thought, did excellent in the role.
Shout out to him. I thought, given what he was working with, knocked it out of the park.
Absolutely. You got Lindsay coming back, which is total. She's in there like one scene.
Yeah.
Why bring her back? Why? Like, why even have her in the damn thing? Like,
yeah, and that's another reason why I don't like calling it a trilogy, because it doesn't feel pre-planned at all.
No, it doesn't.
at all, at all, at all.
Now let me throw something out there. If this was the first movie in this trilogy, right? Say Michael never got apprehended at the end of the first movie, he was just gone, right? Have this movie have this stuff happen with Corey and have this him turning evil and stuff like that. Not having, but it's like the whole movie you go through wondering, is he doing this or is Michael really bad?
Yeah.
And have it end up being
it would have almost been like a Friday 5, where it's just like, well, Jason's got to be dead.
Exactly.
But why are these kills so Jason-like?
Right.
And then have the twist at the end be that it's just him being him.
But then have Michael come back.
Yeah.
That,
that would have been the perfect twist ending. And then that would have restarted
exactly.
the series.
That would have set up the next movie.
Yeah.
Like it'd be like, oh, we got to see the next movie because Michael's back.
Yeah.
It's like it's kind of like Jason Goes to Hell. It's like it wasn't Jason this whole time. You get him at the very end.
That is a damn good point. Had they done something in the beginning, like a flashback, like what they did with the Myers house stuff with Loomis and everything in Kills, so you get some Michael as a backstory, and then you move into the Corey Cunningham Campbell storyline, and you end up having this, is it or isn't it? And then you end with a living Michael. Wow, that is genius. That should have happened.
But it's like it's like out of order, and then it's like this character doesn't show up until the third movie in this trilogy.
Yeah.
It's like, who the hell is he? And then, like, a lot of people that watch this movie, they're like,
it's an uphill battle with him. I mean, for the general audience, but because it's reliant on him and his journey, and it's like you're there to watch a Halloween movie,
which is a fun story, but it's just not it's a Michael Myers movie making a Michael Myers movie.
Yeah.
And my favorite scene in the whole movie is when I think it's Lori and maybe Lindsay that are talking to Corey's or the little boy's dad at the bar, and he's saying, I never blamed him or something like that, but I saw him on the side of the road and I went to go talk to him.
Darkness in him.
Yeah, he goes,
that wasn't the same kid.
Yeah, he goes, that's not the kid that used to cut my lawn or something like that. Yeah. It was different. That gives me chills. Like that was such good.
And that's a good take, unique on darkness and why people do bad things and turn to the darkness instead of striving towards the light, like they're almost forced to. It asks some interesting questions, and for that I give it its praise. Of the three, it feels like this one tried to do something unique. It just didn't do it in the right order.
And that's the thing. It's the Halloween 3 of this new trilogy, and it's the third movie. It's like they tried to do something different, and it fell flat.
Yeah,
because it's not what fans wanted after 2 movies of having Michael Myers and having the story. It's a trilogy, like you said, trilogy is supposed to be a continual story, and it doesn't. It goes too left field for it.
What are your thoughts on the parts that Michael does come out in?
The sewer stuff was a little too Pennywise for me, with the missing persons posters.
I actually did not get that correlation until just now.
And it was like, oh, like every time he kills, like he gets stronger, and it's like there's a couple of cool shots of him. After he slits the cop's throat and he kind of like has this like rejuvenation thing. I did not like Corey Cunningham beating his ass. The only thing I can kind of like defend against like him beating his ass and taking his mask and everything is if Michael let him take the mask.
Like, because he saw something similar to himself.
And but not because he's like, it's not, it wasn't like a mutual respect thing. It was like, I'm going to use him.
Yeah. I'm
going to use him because he's going to do this thing, he's going to be like me, and that's who they're going to have their eyes on. And then when it's the right time, I'm going to make my movie. Let him have his fun. It's kind of like that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's why, but that's not how it went. That's not how it went down. He went in there, he kicked it Michael's ass, and he took his mask.
That's where you kind of wish that there had been more emphasis on a good script, because I feel like, does it have Michael? Are we going to make our money back on the opening weekend? Are people going to buy masks? Is Michael still going to be out there? And are we keeping the license alive? Are we keeping the character going? I mean, I guess it's the reality of why movies are made and produced. And, it's show business. They're there to make $1 out of it. And I think what led to it getting taken very seriously is that Jamie Lee Curtis was back.
Yeah.
But let's just say you didn't have Jamie Lee Curtis in any of the 3. I think that there would have been a need to focus more on character and story than the cheap thrills. I will say I did like the kills a lot in this movie. Although there were some times where, again, the characters feel excessive and not real. But I like the stuff that happened at the radio station. The junkyard kills were cool. The 3 bullies were killed. And again, those bullies did not feel like real characters. They felt like caricatures.
Yeah.
And that's where you keep like rolling your eyes or looking at your phone during those scenes in a rewatch, because it's like, no, this movie should keep you engaged. Who cares if it's the 13th entry? Let's have fun with it. Let's make it a great movie and have people excited. There's a reason why these movies kept going in the 80s and 90s, because you made them well enough for us to want more.
I thought that was going to be the big payoff of this trilogy, is the Silver Shamrock.
Yeah.
I thought even the opening credits are the blue credits, just like in part 3.
Yeah.
And it's like, I really thought, and I was kind of hoping that I was right, because that, to me, that would have been the only thing that would have redeemed this movie.
And especially too with the masks making an appearance briefly in 2018, and then the fact that there's people wearing those masks that are killed in kills, and then it's just like, give us a third step. And although there were some visuals like the opening credits and the fact that it was a departure, it still didn't quite hit. And it goes back to that thing I said before, where it's just enough. It's just enough to keep you interested, just enough to keep you hooked. And I don't know, that doesn't feel like that should be the case.
And now, like, going forward, there's talk of a Halloween series coming out, and it's like, and I feel so like exhausted.
I'm like done.
If you're not gonna do something with the Silver Shamrock or something that we haven't seen in a long time, bring back the Thorn.
There's room to do it if you're creative. I mean, Corey's probably the most relatable, just because we've all been on the short end of the stick at some point, but we've all not made the decision to go into, murder like him. But it's something that is interesting. What are your thoughts on the ending?
I actually really liked the ending. I like the finality of it. It didn't leave. It doesn't leave off with any like, oh, is he or isn't he?
Oh, he's very definitely been pulverized into.
No, he's gone.
Car destructor machinery thing.
He's gone. But you know what? Screw Resurrection. He was gone in H2O2.
He was gone in H2O.
And that was a better finality ending. That was the better ending of Michael than this was. But I liked Hawkins survives. I like that him and Laurie are probably going to continue on to do something.
Yeah, there's enough there to give Laurie a happy ending, which I'm all for.
I liked the mirroring thing of the original, where it shows all these places, and the original
and the breathing.
The original when it ends with all these shots of, he could be anywhere. All these shots of the house.
It's also like he is no longer there.
Yeah, because then you can hear his breathing over it in the first movie, but this one it's completely silent.
Yeah,
and it's almost showing you all the places where he is not.
Yeah,
and I actually really like the ending. I want to like this movie as a whole.
I want to like all 3 movies, and that's why we're talking about this. We're not talking about this because we feel above the material or we have a hate for it. Quite the opposite. We're huge Halloween fans, and we want to like it, but it begs the question, why don't I love it? Why am I borderline on it? What works and what doesn't work? And the answer is there. But it takes some exploration. It takes some understanding of what it is that you want out of a movie, what it is that the audience should expect, and then why these movies are actually made. And unfortunately, and I've said it a couple of times, a lot of times it feels like it's made for, a weekend date movie where someone goes, let's go see Halloween Kills. No one's going to go see Halloween 11. And, they're going to go see Halloween Kills. Oh, and then you make a fast cut trailer with all these modern, visuals. Of course people are going to go see it. Of course it's going to make its money back, because these movies don't cost anything to make, and it's going to keep the regular fans returning because of the fact that we'll go see anything basically, but you don't get the love and the fandom, which is I think what you really want in the long term. You want the audience to love your movie and to want more and to praise it and to put it on this shelf of good that we all are about. But it ends up being this very divisive, like it's there and it's not series of movies.
My final wrap up for this movie and this trilogy is if I leave this movie not knowing what the hell was going on, and if I have to be the one to go and dig to find the stuff that's good, instead of if I don't leave the movie going, man, that was a damn good movie.
Yeah.
And it takes me to have to dig and dig and dig to find the good stuff. I did most of that work for you.
Yeah. Or even dig and say, why didn't I like it?
Right. And it's like that's
where did they drop the ball?
I did your job for you.
Yeah.
You know, it's like I had to do the work in a way. So that's why I feel about this trilogy.
We now are going to be closing this episode out, but we do have another great episode coming to you very soon. Frank, let them know what the next episode is going to be about.
The post-Wes Craven Scream movies.
Oh, we have a lot to talk about.
Yeah. So
it's going to be a good episode. Thank you all for tuning back into this episode, and we will see you very soon. Thanks for stopping by.